Hello and welcome to second part of our Azure Data Fundamentals Ultimate course. Folks, question number 16 of the series focuses on read latency for media files stored in the cool access tier of Azure Blob Storage. Now, latency means how quickly data can be accessed or read after a request. And cool tier is designed for infrequently accessed data, but it is still online and immediately available. And typical access times are in the milliseconds range. Folks, exam tip here. If you see minutes or hours, think archive tier. If the tier is hot or cool, think milliseconds. Let's move on to question number 17 of the series. In an analytical data model, which type of table contains entities that are used to aggregate numeric values, where each entity is represented by a row with a unique key value? Your options are bridge, dimension, fact. Now friends, fact table typically stores quantitative data often referred to as measures or metrics and contains foreign keys that reference related dimension tables. Facts tables are central to a star schema or snowflake schema design, which are common schema designs used in data warehousing and OLAP environments for supporting analytical querying and reporting. Now, question number 18 is fill in the blanks column where we need to identify the language used by Azure Data Explorer to explore, filter, and aggregate data quickly. And folks, KQL is a query language specifically designed for querying and analyzing large volumes of data stored in Azure Data Explorer. It provides powerful capabilities for data exploration, filtering, aggregation, and visualization, making it well suited for real-time analytics and log data analysis tasks. In question number 19, we are going to look at a series of statements and you need to tell whether they are right or not. Folks, the first statement is the PG admin tool can be used to manage Azure database for PostgreSQL. Now, pgadmin is a standard PostgreSQL administration and management tool, and it can be used to manage Azure database for PostgreSQL. Second statement is Azure database for MariaDB offers point-in-time restore for up to 365 days. The maximum retention period for point-in-time restore in Azure database for MariaDB is up to 35 days, not 365 days. Friends, point-in-time restore allows you to restore the database to any point within the configured backup retention window. Now, the third statement is Azure database for MySQL always requires SSL connections. This is another incorrect statement. SSL or TLS for Azure database for MySQL can be enforced, but it is configurable. Now, question 20 is fill in the blanks question where we need to identify the type of DML statement among the given options. The options are create, drop, rename, and update. Now, folks, DML statements are used to insert, update, or delete data, and examples include select, insert, update, delete. Friends, we had a question on DML, DCL, and DDL in the previous part of the series as well, so make sure to go through it if not already. Now, the statement for question 21 is who is responsible for finding hidden patterns in data and creating graphical reports that deliver information in a useful and appealing format? Your options are a data analyst, a data engineer, a database administrator. Now, friends, a data analyst explores and analyzes data to identify trends and patterns. They use tools like Power BI, Excel, Tableau, and create dashboards, charts, and reports. A data engineer builds and maintains data pipelines while focusing on data ingestion, transformation, and storage. A database administrator manages database security, performance, and backups. Okay, question 22 is asking us to identify a database service which can be used to accept and store large quantities of IoT streaming data. Your options are Azure Database for PostgreSQL, Azure Database for MariaDB, Azure Cache for Redis, Azure Cosmos DB. Now, folks, Azure database for PostgreSQL is a relational database and best suited for transactional workload, which is also called as OLTP. So let's rule it out. Azure database for MariaDB is also a relational database and has similar limitations as PostgreSQL for streaming IoT workloads. So another incorrect choice. Azure Cache for Redis is in-memory cache and not intended for durable data storage. This leaves us with the correct choice, that is Azure Cosmos DB, which is designed for massively scalable workloads and excellent for IoT telemetry and streaming data. It supports high write throughput, low latency, read writes, schema-less JSON data, and global distribution, which is commonly used with IoT Hub. Now, folks, question 23 is talking about matching the roles to the appropriate tasks. The roles in the question are data analyst, data engineer, data architect, and database administrator. The first task being talked about here is create a pipeline to transfer data from a database to a data warehouse. Now, folks, as I said in one of the previous questions, data engineers design and build data pipelines, ELT or ETL processes, and data movement workflows between systems. Now, the second task is to create a transactional database. This is very straightforward as database administrators are responsible for creating and configuring databases. They are responsible for managing performance, security, backups, and availability of database and supporting transactional systems. The third task is create a chart that shows sale transactions by week. Now, folks, data analysts analyze data, identify trends, and create charts, reports, and dashboards for business users. Now, friends, the remaining option, data architect, focuses on the high level design and strategy of data systems, not day-to-day implementation or reporting. Typical responsibilities include deciding which data stores to use, for example, data lake versus data warehouse versus operational DB, and how data flows across systems. Friends, if you're liking the content, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. We will move on to question number 24 of the series. Here we have a banking application which is used to transfer money into and out of accounts and perform real-time transactions. This is a classic example of transactional workload. OLAP is used for reporting, aggregations, and trend analysis. ETL is a data movement process and a data warehouse is used for analytics and reporting, not for transactional processing. So friends, I hope you now understand why OLTP has been chosen as the right answer here. But if you still have any doubts, then please post them in the comment section and I'll try to address them as soon as possible. Now, folks, in question number 25, we need to identify the activity that is an example of transactional workload. Your options are aggregating massive amounts of data, producing complex reports, recording small units of work events in real time, performing self-service data exploration. Aggregating massive amounts of data is a typical example of analytical workloads like data warehouses. Producing complex reports is also analytical, often offline or batch processing. Recording small units of work events in real time is exactly what transactional workloads do. That is, handle many small operations quickly. Option D, performing self-service data exploration is analytical or bifocused, not transactional. Now, folks, question 26 is based on blob rehydration, and we need to identify the scenario when that happens. Rehydration is the process of moving a blob from archive to an online tier, which is hot or cool, so that it becomes readable. Now, archive blobs are offline and cannot be read until they are rehydrated, and no rehydration is needed when moving between hot and cool or hot cool to archive. Friends, there is a link on your screen. Feel free to go through the link to understand how rehydrating to online tier works. Folks, in question number 27, a bank needs to ensure that a transaction involving debiting funds from a source account and crediting the same funds to a destination account must complete both actions. And if either fails, the other must also fail. So basically, both action must succeed or fail together. And this is atomicity. Consistent means a transaction must preserve the consistency of data, transforming one consistent state of data into another consistent state of data. Durability means a transaction must be recoverable. If a transaction commits, the system guarantees that its updates can persist even if the computer crashes immediately after the commit. And a transaction must be a unit of isolation, which means that concurrent transactions should behave as if each were the only transaction running in the system. Now in question 28, we are looking for a format that stores delimited data, use commas as separators, and uses carriage returns, which is new lines to end rows. CSV, comma separated values is the right choice here. JSON stores structured data as key value pairs. TSV is similar to CSV but uses tabs instead of commas, and XML stores hierarchical data with tags. Now in question number 29, we are going to look at series of statements and you need to tell whether they are right or wrong. Now friends, the first statement is, in a relational database, the schema is defined before data is written to the table. A relational database uses a schema on write approach. This means the table structure, which includes columns, data types, constraints, etc., must be defined first before you can insert any data. Now, the second statement is key value data stores are highly optimized for complex queries that contain multiple joins. Key value data stores are designed for fast retrieval of data using a unique key. They are not optimized for complex queries. If you need complex queries with joins, a relational database is the appropriate choice. Now, folks, the third statement is a relational database is commonly used to store and query structured data. A relational database organizes data into tables with rows and columns, which is structured data. It enforces a schema, supports SQL queries, and is ideal for scenarios where data has a clear structure and relationships. Folks, question number 30 is a fill in the blanks question. Online analytical processing systems are particularly suitable for analytical workloads because data is, and the answer choices are limited in size, optimized for transactions, pre-aggregated, read only. As I mentioned previously, OLAP systems are used for analytical workloads, which includes reporting, business intelligence, and multidimensional analysis. That means data is often pre-aggregated to speed up queries. Optimized for transactions describes OLTP, not OLAP. OLAP systems are designed for large data sets, not limited ones. So option A, limited in size, is factually invalid. And while OLAP data may often be read heavy, the defining feature is pre-aggregation, not just being read only. Friends, that's all for this part of the series. If you have not watched the previous part of the series yet, then link to the playlist is available in the description section of the video. Make sure to go through the previous part and stay tuned for new parts, as we will be releasing new parts in this series every week from here on. So if you have not subscribed the channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press that bell notification icon so you are notified when further parts in the series are released.